and I got started with doTERRA about 7 years ago. My intention when I first started using doTERRA was to make some shifts in my own personal life. At the time, I did not have children. I had some hormonal imbalances that were showing up as severe skin issues. I had gone to just about every medical person that would see me, and I was put on 7 different birth controls over the course of a year. I had done Proactive, I mean, just everything. And what was never discussed was maybe there's something going on at the root. So when I went to my first class, Wendy was the person teaching, and she changed my life. I'm so grateful for that moment. I'm grateful for all that I've learned. And I can remember sitting down and her just sharing, like, maybe there's something at the root. Either your gut could be off balance or your hormones. And that was the first time that anyone had said that. So for me, that triggered a ripple effect. I started really looking at my health and seeing things differently. I started taking Lifelong Vitality, which is doTERRA's vitamins. And within a couple of weeks, I started to notice a huge difference. Thyroid issues were starting to resolve, hormonal issues, digestive issues. And at the time, I was working as a pediatric speech pathologist, and a lot of the children that I was working with had issues with feeding. That was my area of specialty at the time. And as they were seeking out GI specialists, they were told to put their babies on this medication, that medication, or maybe it was for ADHD. And the response was to all of the families was, you have to put them on this medication. And so then when they would come back to the office, we would be talking and they would be uncomfortable with their babies being put on so much. And what I started learning more about the oils for myself, I just started sharing it with the families, and was then noticing, like, wow, there's a huge impact that just from sharing these oils that can be made on these families and future generations. And so it became this empowering message that I wanted to share with those families. So fast forward from there, I started sharing doTERRA, still working my full-time job, and then sharing doTERRA outside of that. 2 years later, I left my job as a speech pathologist in order to pursue doTERRA full-time. And at that time, I was making just about the same as I was as a speech pathologist. So that was the pivotal moment. We had our first daughter, and it really felt in alignment for me to switch and make this my full-time career and be able to parent how I wanted to parent. And so my intention for tonight is to just share more about how this journey can look for you and what a business with doTERRA can look like. We can make this as informal or as formal as you'd like. I'm happy to answer any questions. We are a Blue Diamond team. So Wendy is my mentor in this and is at the rank of Blue Diamond, which we'll explain a little bit about. But one of the things that I think is so amazing to know and be aware of is that this is really a team business. And there's a lot of collaboration between, you just heard us kind of bantering back and forth. We're all great friends. Melissa, Debbie, and many other women have just come together and are a part of a really great community. So that is something, there's a team atmosphere to this. We offer all sorts of different continuing education and learning opportunities, and all bring different strengths, which I think is really unique and something specific to our team. So to just shift over, oh, that's some pictures of me. I just wanted to share this because I think it's important to recognize that doTERRA, my journey was around, I started when I didn't have children, and then it welcomed in our first baby. doTERRA welcomed our second baby, and now we're shifting into homeschooling, and it's pivoting with me there. But I share this because doTERRA as a business can really fit into whatever stage of your life. There's women on our team that are preparing for retirement. There's women on our team that are just becoming empty nesters, and there's women on our team that are pregnant. And so it really just depends on where you're at, and whatever path you're on, it can fit right in with wherever you're at. So like I said, my intention for tonight is to share a little bit about our team and how this business model works, share with you a little bit about doTERRA as a company and their culture. We'll go a little bit into how you can make money with doTERRA as a business and talk about the next steps. One thing that I do want to share is the intention of this is merely to share this opportunity and allow you the space to have your questions answered and see if this is an alignment for you. There's no pressure on this. We're all very committed and passionate about this business, and we want to open the invitation up for you to be a part of it because it's changed all of our lives. This is just a little glimpse. We do all sorts of things together as a team. We just got back from convention last week. You might have seen some postings on social media. That's in Salt Lake City, Utah. And while we're out there, we play together and have fun. And some of the best memories come from we all share a house together. And so we are hanging out in the late part of the evening and just getting to know each other more. So one thing that often comes up for people is when they're first approaching this as an opportunity for a business is, well, what about, like, I don't know nearly as much as you. And the response for that is always, I started right at the same place as you're sitting right now. As a matter of fact, I knew absolutely zero. I didn't even know what essential oils were when I was when I went to that first class with Wendy. And so I think I share that because it doesn't matter where you are with this. We have all sorts of education on our own. And then we also have access to education with doTERRA. So we have something called Spoiled. It's a week-long sample experience. So you can try out oils and learn with them. doTERRA has different podcasts. They have different certification courses. And so all of that is accessible to you as well. So just wanted to kind of shed some light on that because that is something that comes up for people a lot. And, you know, the other thing that I think is important to recognize is people, I think my classes were, I guess the word I would use is more relatable in the beginning when I was first getting started. Like the things that I was learning were exciting to newbies. And now I'm like, I have all the stuff that I want to share. And sometimes I feel like my classes have too much information. So there's beauty in being in the very beginning as well. And just recognizing that, you know, what you know is perfect for those that are attracted to you. So just keeping that in mind. This is our holistic pyramid. So when looking at this business, these are the different areas that we focus on educating people about. Because it really, yes, essential oils are amazing, and weaving them into a healthier lifestyle is what it's all about. So these are the different areas. And some people that come into this business are more passionate about reducing toxic load. Some are more passionate about exercising or eating habits. And so whatever your background and area of interest, perfect. That'll be kind of your niche that people will be drawn to you about. With doTERRA, there's all sorts of different product categories. So again, whatever your passion point is, when I first got started, I had a lot of skin issues going on. So the skincare was what I was really sharing, and the vitamins. You know, now I find that I'm talking more about anxiety just because that's kind of what surfaced for me. But there's a lot of different product categories, and they're continuing to evolve. They just announced cleaning products. So there's dishwasher tabs now and laundry detergent. So really, it's an umbrella company focusing on wellness. And there are all sorts of different categories that doTERRA offers. And I think that just is fun because you can pivot in your area of interest. So the way that doTERRA works as a business is we're really about education. That's the whole thing. You know, sometimes people will say, I'm not a salesperson. I could never do what you do. And I genuinely, I mean, there's been fleeting moments where I feel like I'm sounding salesy, but that's just because I'm out of alignment for whatever reason. I full-heartedly do not believe that this is about sales. I believe this is an education-based company that just happens to also sell something. And that's completely, I mean, every business sells something, whether it's a service or a product. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Where our focus is education, because our focus is about shifting into a lifestyle, not just getting a bottle of oil that sits and collects dust. So we offer experiences to people either through samples or them coming to a class and being able to experience the oils. We then teach them how to use oils or supplements or natural alternatives. We support a person in getting started or enrolling, it's called, where they can create their own wholesale account, whether they're a customer or want to do this as a business, everyone can have a wholesale account. And then we continue to support them. So we have lots of different continuing education. Wednesday nights, we offer our advanced wellness workshops where people can come and learn about whatever the new topic is. So it might be a pets class, children's class, stress and emotions class. We just have different classes. And again, because this is a team collaboration, different people are teaching on those. So it's not something where you have to know all of those topics right out of the gate. The next thing to think about with doTERRA is this business is around residual income. It's not about an hourly transfer. So what that means is you'll hear the term building a pipeline. And if you think about, there's a story, I think it's on, nope, it's not there. There's a story, there's two brothers, and their way of earning an income was filling a cistern up with water. And the more buckets they filled of water and carried them from the water source to the cistern, the more money they made. Well, as they were doing this, they found they could haul more buckets and make more money, but it was at the detriment to their body and their physical well-being. So the one brother continued to haul the buckets. The other brother said, I'm going to haul as many buckets as I need to in order to pay the bills. And then with the rest of my time, I'm going to build a pipeline a pipeline from the water source to the cistern. And his brother would banter with him and, say, it's a waste of time. You're crazy. He was tired at times, but he kept going and he kept building this pipeline. When the pipeline was completed, he was able to turn the spigot on and the water would free flow from the water source to the cistern. And the analogy with this is oftentimes we find ourselves hauling buckets when it comes to our job. I know for me, when I first was introduced to doTERRA, I was working as a speech pathologist and I didn't have paid time off. If I saw a child for therapy, I was paid for that session. If I was sick, or if in the future, when I had kids, if they were sick or whatever, I would have to take that day off without pay. So that's very much the hauling buckets model. That's traditionally what we're exposed to. Versus when I had my youngest is 1.5 years. When she was born, I had already built up this pipeline to the point where I could take, if I wanted 13 weeks maternity leave, 14 weeks, whatever it was, that was available because of this residual income. So I'm not saying you're at the stage of life where it's a baby, but maybe it's a relative that falls ill and you want to be able to provide care for them. How amazing to have built a sustainable source of income for yourself so that you can, when life events come up, pivot and go be where you need to be, but not have to worry about whether or not you can pay the bills at the expense of that. So when you hear the analogy of building a pipeline of water, that's what the intention is to be thinking, what could my life be like if residual income is flowing? And you'll hear us asking the question, what would you do with an extra $2,000 a month that was paid every month on the 15th of the month? Or what would you do with an extra $10,000 a month? Or maybe for you, the pipeline is time freedom. What would you do with an extra 20 hours a week that you had that you could, do whatever it was? So building your pipeline can look different for wherever you are in your phase of life, but it's just an thought to be pondering as you're exploring this business opportunity. So one thing to kind of drive home that thought with the pipeline is, would you rather have a penny that doubles each day for 1 month or $1 million up front? And the reason that's shared, obviously, the first thought is, well, $1 million. But the reason that this is shared is because when we're building a business with doTERRA, it can be a gradual, it's not $1 million the first day. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is building a business. So rather than thinking I want $1 million instant gratification, if we were to take that gradual growth, rather than having $1 million it's a $10 million. So just to shift the mindset again, it's not, when we're looking at building a business with doTERRA, we're really shifting into consistent growth over time rather than instant gratification. I already talked about that. So just to share with you what this can look like. With doTERRA, we offer 3 different, and I really think that there's 4 different types of people. But if we use these images here, we have live, share, and build. So what this looks like, you can choose whatever path you want. There are not, no one is forcing you into any of the positions. And that's what I think is so great, is you get to set your goals. Everybody sets our own goals, and we have support. It's not a, you have to do any one way of these. So the first pathway is what we call the live path, or a user. And a user or a person that's on the live path is using doTERRA solely for their own health benefits. So a lot of times people start off as a user before shifting into the other categories, but you don't have to. So user is strictly using or from a consumer standpoint. Sharer is a person that is interested in sharing the benefits of a natural lifestyle with their friends and family, getting their products paid for free, occasionally having classes, and that's kind of wanting to stay right in there. So getting their products paid for. Then when we shift into what's called a builder is someone that genuinely wants to build a business, either on a small scale. And this is where I say there's kind of 4 types of people, because a builder, in my mind, is broken into 2 different categories. A builder can be someone that wants to build slow, at a slower pace, with the intention of an extra income stream, or a builder can be at a faster pace with the mindset of, I want to eventually lead a team of people that want to do this as well. So in my mind, it's a builder. And then there's the next step is a leader, where you're really wanting to lock arms with other people and create a massive ripple effect with others. Any questions up until this point? I actually see there's a couple chats. So, oh, hi. Anybody have any questions so far? Was making a little bit of sense and maybe answering some of your questions. Okay.
Katrina, can you start off as one and move into the other one?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Those lifestyles of the business?
Oh. Yeah. So that's a great point. And that's oftentimes a question for people is, if I say that I want to be a builder, am I in that position forever? You get to choose. So you might decide, I want to use the products for myself first, and then decide to be a sharer, and then decide to be a builder. Completely fine. You might decide you want to be a sharer and then bump up to that first level of a builder, and then you're like, nope, I want to be a leader. So you really have the option to pivot depending on what you're feeling drawn to. Yeah, thank you for asking that, Wendy. Any other questions? Just to kind of say this again is, oftentimes people will say, well, I want to use the product for a while before I start sharing it with people. And that's completely fine. And also just to share the thought that when you're starting your journey, there's so much excitement, and it's really fun to share what you're learning immediately with people, because the more that you're sharing, the more that you're learning. So that's sometimes a thing that people will say, and then they find, you know what, I actually didn't need to be figuring all of this out, because there's always something to learn with oils, right? Many of you that are already using them, you're very familiar. There's always something new to learn. I'm still learning stuff 7 years in, and I know Wendy is too. So just kind of keeping that in mind. So I share this picture because these are the owners of doTERRA, and we just got to listen to them last week. And there's a special place in my heart for these people. doTERRA is privately owned, and so that is meaningful for a few different reasons. So the first thing is, all of these owners took out second mortgages on their house so that they could start doTERRA. And the reason that they started doTERRA is some of them had been working with another essential oil company, and what they were finding was the quality of essential oils that were available to the public prior to the inception of doTERRA was low quality. And so they really became on a mission to provide the highest quality essential oils so that people can use them for their healthcare. And one of the things that is amazing about doTERRA is each year they continue to grow and be able to do new things. And now the world of essential oils has blown up with the research that doTERRA has offered. They just were able to get the accreditation to be pharmaceutical grade, which is no other essential oil company has done that. They're disrupting healthcare. And I just think that these people are brilliant and have a heart of gold. So I think that's great to know about the company and when you're deciding whether or not to lock arms and partner with them. This also shows the growth of doTERRA. So one thing to keep in mind is that doTERRA has a growth curve similar to Apple, similar to Facebook. Their growth has been phenomenal, and they are the largest essential oil company in the world. They also have something called Founders 2.0. So this is something that's available to all of you that are on the call if you're interested. Founders 2.0 is basically doTERRA had, for their first billion in sales, they had their first group of founders. And basically because they're privately owned, they don't have any stockholders or people, like investors that have stocks. So what they do offer is basically people that are builders or leaders within doTERRA have the opportunity to get air quote stocks or founders position. And that's basically a bonus that's paid out every year for people that have that founders position. So we're not going to talk in depth about this, but founders there's 200 spots available. And I think, Wendy, do you know the number? Is it 10 spots have been claimed so far? So there's still 190 spots open, and founders positions are designed to be available to people brand new or to people that have been building this business for,
I forgot, 12.
12, perfect, thanks. So this is something, if you're like thinking of building a business with doTERRA, definitely chat with the person that invited you about Founders 2.0, because it's a phenomenal opportunity and can really shift your financial future and help support you in building a legacy for your family. So the next thing that I just wanted to share about is the doTERRA culture. Well, we won't go super in depth with this, but I would encourage you to just YouTube doTERRA Co-Impact Sourcing, for the Healing Hands, because doTERRA goes above and beyond to make sure that they have the highest quality of essential oils. Beyond that, they partner with harvesters that prior to doTERRA, these farmers all around the world were creating these crops that were used for essential oils, but sometimes weren't getting paid for years after their crop was sold. And these families were in poverty, weren't sure how they were going to feed their family. So when doTERRA came about, they decided rather than having a middleman fragrance company in between, they wanted to just partner right directly with the harvesters and allow them the freedom to know if you create a high quality essential oil, you will get paid for your work. And now these partnerships have been formed all around the world. When they lock with these harvesters, and these harvesters are offering the highest quality essential oils, they're saying beyond paying them, they're going to help them get running water. They're going to help them with schools, hospitals. So they're making this massive impact. And when you're at convention, you get to hear from some of these harvesters, and every single time these stories are told, I have tears pouring down my face. The impact that is made on both sides of the bottle is huge. And I love to know that what we're doing and where we're investing our time is helping people with their health, but it's also helping people all around the world as they're, growing the crop. So I just wanted to share that as well. This just shares, I kind of already talked about it, but doTERRA is leading the way when it comes to essential oils and offering all sorts of research. So they've partnered with Vanderbilt, Johns Hopkins, St. Elizabeth, different medical institutions to share more research around essential oils, which is really changing the world of essential oils. Okay, so let's talk some of the logistics. How much time is involved when it comes to building your business? Oops, there's a couple chats. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Brett. So how much time is involved what can it look like? Really, again, like I said, when it comes to building a business with doTERRA, you get to choose how much time. We have stepping stones. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. doTERRA has offered a lot of education on how to launch your business. We have our own team education. You'll partner with the person that invited you on tonight's call. So all of the support is there. You get to decide how hard your foot hits the pedal, basically. So if you're looking to pay for your product, or if you're looking to put in about 3 to 5 hours a week, you're looking at paying for your essential oils. If you're looking to supplement your income, that's about 10 to 15 hours. And if you want to replace your income, you're looking at about 15 to 30 hours. And again, all of that, like, okay, what does that time look like? That can all be discussed with the person that invited you. But just to kind of give you an idea, you can create a really successful business with 15 hours a week, 30 hours a week. The more time that you put in, the faster you'll see your growth with your business, but you get to choose what that pace looks like. These are different ranks. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. So with doTERRA, there are different ranks, and each rank has different bonuses. So without getting too confusing, doTERRA's compensation plan is phenomenal, and you'll get to learn more about it. Each rank, there's a different bonus. So like I said before, because they're privately owned, you don't have to, money isn't going to stockholders. It's going back to us, and they really do a great job in pampering us. So different ranks mean different bonuses, basically. So this gives you kind of an idea of what you're looking at for a yearly income with each of these different ranks. And within our team, we have silvers, we have golds, we have platinums, we have diamonds, we have blue diamonds, and our upline is a presidential diamond. So it's completely doable. It just is dependent on what you want to put in order to identify what you get out of it. So, I think it's also important to recognize that as you're learning about this, self-doubt creeps in. That's just human nature. When I first started this, I had my own self-doubt. Self-doubt is just the thought. If we have the thought that we can't do this, we can also have the thought that we can do this. It's just one thought away from having a different outcome. There's a quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so I think that that's important to unveil, because sometimes when we're listening to things like this, we think we're the only one that has that self-doubt. And I just want to share that, that's not true. There's days when, I'll call Wendy and I'll be like, can you just talk me through this? And then the next day I'm like, this business is great. We get in our own way sometimes. So what could this be a business for you? It depends. Are you passionate about a healthy lifestyle? Are you passionate about teaching people how to focus on the root of their health? Do you care about people? Can you follow a system and get things done? Are you a go-getter? If you answered yes to those, then absolutely this business could be totally in alignment for you. So just in kind of wrapping up, what does residual income mean to you? What would it be like to think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, having an income stream that comes in? Maybe it's allowing you to leave your job. Maybe it's allowing your significant other or your partner to leave their job. Maybe it's having a college fund for your kids, or creating a legacy that you can pass down to them. What does it look like for you? Maybe it's a second home. So just kind of thinking about that and allowing, when we're kids, we dream, and then all of a sudden somebody tells us, oh, you can't be an astronaut. You can't do that. And our ability to dream shuts down. And so the invitation with doTERRA is to dream again. And I can remember when I first started with doTERRA, I was working double a full-time caseload because I had put a lot of stuff in grad school on my credit cards, and we were in over our heads with debt. And I can remember feeling like I was suffocating because I was working double a full-time caseload and we were still living paycheck to paycheck. And so for me, when I first started doTERRA, it was, what if I could just pay my car payment? And then it became, what if I could make enough to cover our mortgage? And then it just kept growing. Like my ability to see a bigger vision just kept growing with each of the stages. So this is just an invitation for you to think about, what could residual income mean for you and your family? From here, if this is aligning, what I would encourage you to do is jump on a call. Usually we do what we call a three-way call, and it's just you, the person that invited you, and then their mentor, just so that you have different personalities and different stories and testimonies to pick the brains of, so you can kind of hear and get a gauge for what this business could look like more specific to you. But that's kind of the next step. And then we also have, if you just Google, or it's actually trainings.doterra.com/courses. When you go to that website, there are different, I think it's on here. Yeah. There are the certification on how to grow a business is right there. And then that pairs with something called daily mentor calls. And those they're just little tiny mini clips on how to build a business with doTERRA that you can listen to at your leisure. So when you're doing the dishes or folding laundry, you can be listening and learning more about that. So there's that certification, and then there's those daily mentor calls. That gives you the education. On the flip side, the other thing is getting people together that want to learn about essential oils. That's the best way that you're going to learn how to build this business. What we typically do, because I know that this is always a question, is what we call the 4-class rule. And that is basically, you have classes, whether they're at your home or online, or a friend of yours hosts for you. And typically for at least your first 4 classes, we're partnering together. Now, sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's faster. But what we do in that is those first few classes, and I'm going to use myself as an example. So if I invited you on this call, your first few classes, I'm going to teach the class. Then the next class, you're going to teach a part that you feel comfortable with. I would teach the next part. Now, just if it wasn't me that invited you in, swap the me in with whoever the person is that invited you. Then after that, it's about 50-50. Then you teach 75, I teach 25. And then at the end, you're teaching the full class, but you just have your person there for support. So it's not, when you decide that you want to do this as a business, or if you decide, I'm saying when, but when you decide that you want to do this as a business, the support is there. There's not that scary, like, oh my gosh, I have to figure this all out on my own. Our focus is on education, from a customer standpoint, from a sharer standpoint, from a builder standpoint. So the support is there. It's just a learning opportunity for you to figure out the stepping stones that get you to that successful point. So that is, that's it. We can open it up to questions and answers, but this just is an invitation to start dreaming again. If this business does align for you, thinking about what would it be like to travel. I'll just share my own testimony. I can remember because I didn't have paid time off, going on vacations wasn't a thing. I might go to a conference for my continuing ed and spend it one day at the beach on either the beginning or the end of the trip, but that was it. Time freedom, like the thought of homeschooling my kids right now with where we were 10 years ago wouldn't have been an option. And now we can pivot and do that. Passive income stream, having that, for me, it was maternity leave, whatever it might be, working from home, owning your own business, and being able to empower others. We're really in the business of building a legacy and changing the lives of people from a consumer standpoint, and then the relationships that we build from other people that want to partner with us in this business, their lives change too. So there's this opportunity in front of you that can really create a massive ripple effect in your life and the lives of those around you. So thank you for learning more about this business. If you want to stay on, we can kind of do an open table chat and share more. Otherwise, thank you, and hopefully we'll chat more. If you are already a customer, how can you get your oils paid for besides earning the 30%? Okay, so perfect. We got some questions coming in already. So if you're a customer, you can upgrade your account to a wellness advocate. and then you earn, basically you can earn commission. So you get your, okay, so for those of you that don't know what this means, so let me just take 700 steps backwards. When you have a wholesale account with doTERRA, which everybody can have a wholesale account, you have a wholesale account as a customer, and doTERRA has like a frequent flyers program where you can earn a percentage back on your own personal orders. So Kim is asking, she currently has her own wholesale account and she's earning 30% back on her orders. So the question is, if you have that, how do you then make something different? So you can upgrade your account and to what's called a wellness advocate. Basically, you just put your social security number in because at the end of the year, you get a 1099. Okay, so once you've upgraded your account, you're then eligible to enroll people with their own wholesale account. So when you set them up with their own wholesale account, they're automatically linked with you, and then you earn commission off of their order. So it's forever, you're connected because you're their education person, and then your commission starts from that. Does that answer that question, Kim? Oops, you're still muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I guess then, but do you only get money if they enroll, or do you still get commission for every order they make?
Yeah, so I think your question would be best answered in a conversation where we go specifically over the compensation plan, but I'll give you like because there's a lot of different ways that you're paid out.
Okay.
And it can get like, just because I want to make sure we don't go until 10 o'clock tonight. But to answer your question, your people can order retail with you. We don't typically encourage that just because they're paying 25% more. It doesn't make sense for them. So typically a person gets a wholesale account. It makes more sense for them from a consumer standpoint. When they have a wholesale account, it's linked to you, and then you earn commission off of their orders. Yes. So as they're ordering, you're getting a percentage, which let's go over that in the compensation plan call. But yeah, once their order goes in, you're getting commission off of that.
Okay, so that's the step one thing, right? That'd be like the first thing you mentioned, the lift path, or no, the share, right?
Yeah, so you can earn commission off of people that way as a sharer or as a builder. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely. And that just is, so how we get to that step is kind of, so if you were on the 7 o'clock, that's an essential oil 101 class. So 101 class, we're just teaching people the basics on using essential oils. And then they decide, yep, this lifestyle aligns for me. I want to get started. Nope, this lifestyle doesn't align for me. Whatever. So that's kind of how that is goes into a sharer or a builder. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking a question. Anybody else have a question that you want to share, or maybe a testimony? Open dialogue, so you can say whatever you would like. I know I'm an open book. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. There's nothing that is too forward. All right. Hopefully you are still there listening. I'll tell you what, teaching or, talking online is great because it allows us all to be in the comfort of our own home. I'm currently wearing pajamas, so that's all great. But when everybody's names are hidden, so thank you, Lynette and Wendy, for showing your faces, because it's that part of like, are you guys listening, or who's out there still? Hello. So anyways, I appreciate the questions and seeing faces and all of that. So, well, I will stay on. If you do have questions and you want to ask, feel free to stay on. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see your faces soon. Thanks, everybody.